So I'm guessing if you're on this video, you're having a bit of trouble with your angelfish dying, and today I'm going to give you some advice on how you can fix this problem, and I'm going to give you some advice as well on how, if you've got a sick angelfish right now, how to get it back into its thriving condition and back into a healthy condition. So make sure you stay around to the end of the video to listen to all the information I'm going to give you. So the first thing you can do is to check how your angelfish is eating. So diet is a really important factor with all fish in maintaining their health. So if they aren't taking food or they're not hungry at all, that can be a really big factor in deciding whether that fish is actually sick or not. So if you've got a fish that's kind of hiding away in the corners and not taking food when you're feeding your fish and not always hungry and coming to the top of the aquarium, then that could mean that it's really getting sick. So the first thing you can do is, when this is happening, is to take that fish out of the aquarium and put it into another aquarium. Now, if you don't have an aquarium, I would recommend getting like a bucket and maybe an air stone and just using a little bit of the aquarium water that they were in and putting that in there with the air stone so they can have some oxygen. But you have to get that fish out of that main body of water before it can infect other fish. And then the next thing you can do is to begin medicating. Now, there's a million different things that could be happening to your angelfish. It could have ick, it could have all these different kinds of diseases, could have internal parasites, and it's really tricky to know. And I can't diagnose this right now. You'll have to take a photo or take it to a fish store and get them to check it out. But the first thing you can do after you've taken that fish out is to medicate. Now, I recommend using something called Melafix. I've used Melafix in the past. Basically, it gets rid of all parasites and tries to eradicate all those little sicknesses that angelfish can get. And I regularly dose this product into my aquariums just to make sure that all my fish are safe all the time and quarantined. So I'd recommend doing this to the main tank and also, of course, the bucket. An important piece of advice as well with medicating is to never over medicate. This can be absolutely awful for your aquariums. It can kill off a bunch of stuff and actually do really bad damage. A lot of people over medicate. I make sure that if anything, I always under medicate, because over medicating is super dangerous. So before you actually add any medication to the main aquarium, I'd also recommend doing a massive 50% water change, just to make sure that as much of that sickness in the water is gone, and then you can start to medicate. So while you're medicating fish as well, it's really important that you're feeding heaps, because they need all those nutrients to try and grow back and get their immune systems really pumping and getting that sickness out of their bodies if they've started to get it. So it's really important that if there's any other fish in there that you've noticed to start getting the sickness, that you take them out as well, and you're just trying to pretty much make that tank as clean as possible from any of that sickness and get it as early as you can before it's too late and the fish is starting to die. Now, a piece of information that you won't get from other places is to first of all check your food. I've noticed that I've given my fish sicknesses by using old food, so I'd have maybe a food from 2 or 3 years ago that I find again that I haven't used much, and I'll be like, okay, well, I'm just going to start feeding this because I obviously want to use up all the food. Now, this is super dangerous because there could be little things that have built up on the food over time, and it's really important to make sure that you're not using food that's gone out of date. Now, there should be a little best before date on all your products in your aquarium collection, but it's really important that you check the use by date on all your foods and make sure that you're not feeding old foods, because obviously bacteria and stuff can get in there and start causing sicknesses. So I'd recommend, if you're starting to get sicknesses, especially in a few tanks, just instantly go out, throw out all your old food and go get just some new food. I also know that you can buy medicated foods. I don't typically do this because they get really expensive, but if you want to try to do this, it's a really good tactic because it actually forces the fish to consume the medication rather than just have to absorb it. Now, the next thing you want to do after you've medicated all the water and done your water change and separated everything out is to actually take a little test tube of water to your fish store. Now, most fish stores, if you've got an awesome fish store like mine down the road, will do free water testing, and they'll test to make sure that everything's in balance, and they are the best people to recommend you to what you can do to fix up your water parameters for your fish. Now, I've talked about this in the past. Angelfish are kind of moderately difficult to take care of, and they can be a little bit sensitive. It's important that you have the right area, water parameters for the fish that you're trying to keep. So don't try and combat what you've got in your area. If your pH in your area is a 6, that's good. 6 to 7.5 is pretty good for angelfish. But if you've got pHs of 8 and you're trying to bring that down, it's just impossible. It's an absolute nightmare. So don't even try to do that. And that could be a reason that your angelfish are dying. Anyways, that's all the information that I have on how to fix up your angelfish and why your angelfish might be dying. I hope that I've given you guys some information that you can take and fix up the problem, and I'm really sorry for you. I hope you guys are enjoying my videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.